Here are three reasons why I'm still buying Moonriver's native cryptocurrency called MOVR, even though nothing I say is financial advice. But my first reason is going to be because I like its room for growth, especially as of right now when the price is not doing good whatsoever, in my opinion. Now, some people may find this counterintuitive because they may be thinking, okay, if the price is low, that means it's bad. But personally, for me, if I like the project, if I believe in the fundamentals, and yet the price is low, I view that as a no-brainer because theoretically, the lower something is, the more room it has to grow. MOVR at the price of $700 is my hypothetical price target for it during this bull run. And if it were to go to that price, that right there is around a 142x from here, which is kind of crazy to think about. Now, even if let's say MOVR never reached $700, let's say even just $350, so 50% of that, even at that point, that's over 70x from here. Now, again, there's no guarantees because I can't take a look into the future. But the way you take a look at it is that when it comes to something like this, it doesn't even feel that crazy anyways if let's say it even were to go to the price of $700 because considering current circulating supply at that point, market cap would be around $6.7 billion, so nearly $7 billion basically for simplicity's sake, again in terms of market cap. But here's the thing. We have to take a look at something like Dogecoin reaching over $80 billion in market cap back in 2021. We have to take a look at Shiba Inu that year reaching around $40 billion in market cap. I don't think this is too much to ask for. Again, it may be hard to believe as of right now, and I'm totally aware of that, but I view this as a very special project. And this actually brings me to my second point as to why I'm still buying MOVR, and that is because its fundamentals, I think, are rock solid when it comes to Moonriver. Because if we take a look at it, it's even been stated that Moonriver is an Ethereum-compatible blockchain environment on the Kusama network. Now, this may seem a little bit complicated, but let me simple things down. Basically, in my opinion, that's a very fancy way of saying how Moonriver is a canary network to Moonbeam. Now, people may be thinking, okay, what is this even all about? Now, let me explain. If we take a look at Moonbeam, it's on a place called Polkadot. And again, Moonriver is on Kusama. And we have to take into consideration how Kusama is a canary network to Polkadot. Now, what is even a canary network? Some people may be wondering. Now, let me explain it. And let me use Kusama and Polkadot as an example. Now, usually, when projects want to launch something on Polkadot, they will typically first start off on Kusama. Now, the reason being is because, first of all, it's far easier to rent building space on there, arguably, I would say, because it's far cheaper. Not to mention, it's also easier to make changes on Kusama as opposed to Polkadot. So let's say if I'm a developer just starting out, I think it would be much more advisable, at least personally for me, I can't speak on anyone's behalf, to start off on Kusama first and then move on later to Polkadot eventually. Because again, projects, they usually start off with Kusama and then they move on later eventually to Polkadot. And this is not in every single case, by the way, because a project doesn't have to move on to Polkadot later on. Again, take a look at Moonriver. It is on Kusama. So it's not a requirement, but usually people do that. Now, again, this is a good funneling system because if we take a look at Polkadot, it's a very impressive project. And again, some people may not want to necessarily jump straight onto that. They have a place to start off, like in the case of Kusama. It's basically like a testing ground, I would say. It's as if a free trial at a gym. We try it out. If we like it, we maybe get the full membership. And again, Moonriver is basically something like that, but then for Moonbeam. So I think all of this is beginning to make a little bit more sense. Now, let's start off with explaining as well why Polkadot is amazing. It's because Polkadot is aiming to connect blockchains together. Basically, as of right now, there's a big issue, and that is lacking interoperability because there's many networks out there, many blockchains, but for the most part, they can't freely send data and value to each other. Much like, for instance, in the case of Bitcoin and Ethereum, they're very massive, but because they're independent of one another, they can't freely send data and value to each other. Arguably, they lack interoperability, which is why something like Polkadot steps in and saves the day. So Polkadot is very amazing. And again, Moonbeam is on Polkadot and Moonriver is on Kusama. So I think all of this really is just very amazing. It's a very good ecosystem. That's the way to take a look at it. I think that when it comes to Moonriver, of course, a lot of its future is going to greatly depend on Moonbeam. And of course, something like Moonbeam is really going to depend on something like Polkadot. So I think as Polkadot does gain attention, Moonbeam is going to go along with the ride. Of course, so will something like Kusama, and Moonriver, I think, is going to join that. So really, I think when it comes to Moonriver, it's a very special project. Now, the third and final reason why I'm still buying MOVR is because, as the old saying goes, a high tide raises all ships. What do I mean by this? I believe that the upcoming hypothetical peak of this boron could be very special. Now, some people may think that the best days are behind us, but I think better days are actually hypothetically in front of us, because when we take a look at it, there's over 600 million crypto owners as of right now, according to Crypto.com research. That's more than ever before in history. Also, take a look at the Bitcoin ETF, the Ethereum ETF, the number of enterprise adoption. I believe that with all those bullish factors, I highly doubt that the most recent peak that we saw when it comes to Bitcoin and altcoins, I highly doubt that that was the actual peak. I think better days are ahead. This bull run, also even historically speaking, as a worst case scenario, there could still be a ways to go, because usually altcoins, as a worst case scenario, they typically peak around 18 months after a Bitcoin halving event. The last Bitcoin halving event happened in April of last year, so 18 months from then would actually mean around October this year. I still think there's plenty of time. Now, this is not a guaranteed date because each cycle is going to be different. I totally aware of that, and there's going to be slight variations and factors when it comes to the economy, but the way to take a look at it is that I'm waiting anyways. And I believe that, again, the bull run could be far from over because all those bullish factors, and not to mention historically, as a worst case scenario, there could still be a ways to go. So I'm still going to stay patient. I'm still going to continue to accumulate more MOVR hold, and I just wait because I believe that better days are ahead. And again, $700 for MOVR wouldn't surprise me whatsoever during this bull run. And make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. I'd greatly appreciate it. It's been Lee the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.